Listen, being at a tech conference like Laracon can be a completely intimidating and overwhelming experience, especially if you are new to the community, going in cold with no real wingman or wingwoman, wing person there to support you. There's so many impressive people, so much new tech to kind of consume. Brands are spending thousands of dollars to be here to put their logos in front of you. It's daunting, so it's natural to have your guard up. But that's no way to experience a conference. So at the Mux booth, we wanted to flip that around and show you a picture of someone that you know better than anyone. Yourself. So we built a video guestbook. You walk up, you smash a big red record button, and for 3 seconds, you get to be whoever you want. And in those 3 seconds, we've noticed that people let their guard down. They take off their lanyard, stop trying to be a founder or lead developer or staff engineer, and just eat a donut. Forget everything that they know about being an engineer and just become a human. And what's cool is people remember this experience. They see themselves on the screen, they go grab their buddies, and suddenly they're etched into the history of the conference. And there are people yesterday at the after party that are right now in their seats going, oh my God, am I going to be in this talk? And the answer is yes. We've had over 700 submissions in this guestbook since we built it a few years back. It was built originally with Next.js, with using Supabase as the storage layer, and Mux for all of the video processing. But I don't know if y'all know this. Last year, Laravel raised a bunch of money. And as somebody who cut my teeth in PHP years ago, even before Laravel existed, I was intrigued. So I wrote a blog post, and I decided I need to explore Laravel a little bit. Now, I know that there's this really popular quote in the Laravel community about your ability to just perform with your autonomy. I think I'm getting it right. But in the JavaScript community, it's a completely different sentiment. The popular quote is, you can't just do things. There's so much packages that you need to install. There's so many third-party services that you need to duct tape together. You cannot perform a migration easily. And to that, I say, I am my own person, and I'm going to migrate my video guestbook to Laravel. So I decided to do it. Now, going cold into Laravel, yeah, woo Laravel. Going cold into new framework can be intimidating, kind of like being at a big tech conference. You don't know what you don't know. You're kind of struggling to find your ground. And I thought about how great it would be to have a mentor by my side that knows what it's like to be brand new, to be young and fresh, and kind of have that evolution and growth mindset. And then it hit me. You can't spell Laravel without larva. Now, I'm no entomologist, but a larva feels like the perfect representation of my experience with Laravel. Brand new, willing to grow, kind of squirming around, trying to find my way. So, meet Lenny.
Hi.
There is audio there somewhere. Lenny is the perfect representation, and Lenny is going to be our, even though he doesn't have wings yet, he will be our wingman throughout the remainder of this talk. So we're going to go through how this video guestbook was built, how the recording and uploading process works, how you can watch and share those videos, what role Laravel played during the migration, what I learned, and how you can go ahead and build your own using Laravel starter kits. Sound good? Okay, let's roll.
Let's wriggle.
Let's wriggle. Let's start with the recording and uploading. So here's the UI you can see for the video guestbook. What happens is we hit that big red record button, you get a 3-second timer, and we start to record a 3-second video. So to understand this recording process, you need to know a little bit about the MediaRecorder API. This lives right here within your browser, and it kind of works just like one of those old mini DV cameras that you used to film your skating fails back in high school, where you could take a tape, put it into the camera, and suddenly you can record, stop, start, pause, hit all of the buttons, make it work, and you have your video captured. Very similar here. So we have the MediaRecorder API. We call this get user media function. This is right in your browser. Everybody has this. And as long as the user accepts, which is this is the pop-up when you visit a website that's like, hey, this website wants to access your camera. If you accept, then we get a data stream back. That data stream can be popped right into the media recorder, and now you get all those same buttons that you're used to with that old mini DV camera. You have the start, stop, pause, and so on. Whenever one of those buttons is pressed, a callback event is fired within the application. So for the guestbook, when we hit that big red record button, we are now recording that 3-second video, and we're getting intermittent calls to this function, this on data available. Now, this is a React application, so I have it set up in a ref. And anytime, like I said, we're aggregating this data, it's going to this on data available callback. And we're storing that in an array right in React state. So we're kind of aggregating these chunks of data together, these blobs of data, which, quick trivia question, does anybody know what blob is short for? Just shout it out. Okay, all right, good. I wasn't sure. I just learned that. I've been in media for like 20 years, and I was like, it's just blob. It's a blob of data, but binary large object. Maybe today you learned. So we set the chunks in React state, and then from here, when that 3 seconds is up, it's an interval. We call the stop method on the media recorder, fires off the on-stop callback. So we're assembling those chunks of data into a file, again, right here within your browser. This is all native browser technology. Pass the array of chunks, we give the file a file name, and assign some MIME type data there at the end. That's gonna create a file. You can download that file to your local device, or you can upload it somewhere. So that's what we're doing here. We're submitting the upload, resetting the chunks, and getting it ready for the next guestbook entry. Where do we submit the upload to? Well, in this case, this is where Mux comes in. Mux is an end-to-end video API, handles all the uploading, storage, playback, lots of other features. But here we're making a post request to the Mux API, and this returns a pre-signed upload URL that you can upload your video data to. So when we're uploading video data on the internet, we oftentimes, and big files in general, we oftentimes don't necessarily want to upload that whole file at once. We want to break it up into smaller chunks. Kind of reminds me of this scene, where these chunks help you to recover from intermittent network issues or conditions, or if you need to pause the upload process for any reason, you can do so and not lose your progress. It'll kind of keep track of how far along your uploads have gone. And at Mux, we wanted to build a library that's open source that you can use to make this uploading process easier for uploading chunks. And what better name than UpChunk?
Gross.
You're one to talk, Lenny. So UpChunk, you pass that file URL, the upload URL, the file, the chunk size. This is kind of a default chunk size here. And then the upload will also just begin. You'll start to get these callback events on your upload. We have progress updates that you can then use to update your UI in React. Think of like a progress bar or a load or something along those lines. So what I'm getting at here is this is a very client-heavy application. There's a ton of JavaScript in place. And when I was thinking about a migration to Laravel, I was really nervous. I didn't know what I didn't know. Was I gonna have to learn what blade templates were? What Livewire is all about? I hear it's awesome, but I know nothing about Livewire. And more questions just kept coming up of how difficult this was gonna be. Was I gonna have to build an API? Was I in for a world of pain? And I had to ask Lenny if he had an answer for me.
Nope.
Nope. Whew. Thank you, Lenny. The answer was no. What was wild is that I kind of just drag and drop my React components over from my Next.js application, and it was all thanks to Inertia, right? I have this route set up in my Laravel application for the homepage. I use Inertia to fetch all of the entries for the video guestbook and render them down to the React application right here on the server side. It actually took me more time to remove old code that I wasn't using than introduce new code, which kind of left me wondering, where's all the work? Like, why was that so easy? I told my boss this is going to take 8 weeks, and it took 8 hours. So what do I do with my time now? Does Laravel have it all? Was where I kept coming back to. And the point here is maybe a Next.js migration, if you're new to Laravel, might not be as hard as you might think. Let's move on to the next part here, watching and sharing your video. So when you record, you are presented with a little video that you can scan the QR code, take with you. Let's go through how that works. We talked about the upload flow where you get the URL and have that returned back to the client. The client uploads the video, and then you have to wait for a minute. because video transcoding in the cloud is an asynchronous process. It doesn't happen instantly. So what happens when the video is ready to play back, Mux will send a webhook to the Laravel application, or the server in this case, and just say, hey, video is ready to go. You can store that information, the metadata about how to play that video back. Then the server will notify the client that the video is ready. Client can now update and show that video. Laravel event listeners made this super easy. Now, this pattern was actually introduced by a community member, Martin Bean, who's, I think, here somewhere. If you see Martin, there he is. Give him a pat on the back. Very cool. Thank you, Martin. Where this event listener will just handle webhooks that are coming in and propagate them to the correct callback based off of the webhook type, right? So this allows us to handle different events that are coming in and handle them accordingly in our application. And this is what I really loved about my experience with this migration, is how self-contained this all really felt. There were no third-party services. This kind of allowed me to get rid of some of that Supabase stuff. There was all self-contained, all kind of community-contributed code, which is awesome. But there was one piece, there was one roadblock for me. I wanted to deploy this to Laravel Cloud and then use Reverb to propagate in real time that we had some information from Mux about the webhooks that were ready to update the client, right? Couldn't do that just yet. Does sound like that's coming soon, though, which is pretty exciting. And Lenny, this is a public presentation. Watch your mouth. Good news is you might not need WebSockets at all. And in this application, the client didn't need to talk to the server, so we could just use server-sent events, which Laravel has some really great support for and some recent updates with. Now, in WebSockets, you recall, the server can talk to the client can talk to the server at any time. Server-sent events is one way. So the server can talk to the client just listens for updates. Just listening, which coincidentally is sometimes all my wife ever asked me to do. Just listen. You don't need to fix things all the time. Here's how that works. On the server side, we have this route set up where we have a response type with an event stream. In that event stream, we establish a true loop and check the database for any new entries that have been received from that webhook since the last time we checked. If new entries are found, we can propagate that back down to the client with this yield call. And on the client, you saw some of this yesterday, but there's a new export here, use event stream from Laravel Stream React, that makes it super easy to just connect this to that endpoint, and any updates that come in will automatically go to that on message callback, or we can handle and update our local state. This is how new entries appear in real time. If we want to have those animated previews of what the contents are of the video, we can just construct the URL here with the metadata that comes from the Mux webhook, right? So we have an image.mux.com, throw the playback ID in there, and you'll automatically get an animated preview of a visual preview of the contents of that video. You can also take that video with you. So you can scan this QR code, and it will take you to this page here where we have the ability to post it to social media, download it to your device, share it with friends and family back home. There's a form here where you can sign up for the Mux newsletter and get a credit. Mux newsletter is awesome. The person that writes it is amazing and handsome and funny and experimenting with Laravel. But I also use this use form hook. So this was new to me. Next.js doesn't have this natively in any way, where I can kind of consolidate all of the getters and setters for the form, have the state management of the form as well, and hook it up to the form input fields just like this, just like you all are used to. And this inertia functionality allowed me to really reduce a lot of code here. So in Next.js, there are third-party packages I can install, but remember, I'm trying to keep this all in the ecosystem. So I was trying to do this raw in Next.js here so I could handle all the different state with JavaScript and the form changes and errors and so on. And it really got reduced down to this on form submit callback here. So I could use the submit function from Inertia.js and also call this store method, which we'll get to here in just a second. We got a preview of that yesterday. But this was a pretty massive reduction in the complexity of how this form worked.
I love changing forms.
Me too. I don't think would ever say that, but this is actually a pretty big breeze for me. That store method is through Laravel Wayfinder, right? So if we have a route set up where there is a lead endpoint, it's going to call the store method on our lead controller. And within that method, we're just creating a new lead, new record in the database, and redirecting back to the submitting page. Well, if I were to run with this Wayfinder package installed, PHP Artisan Wayfinder generate, I now have type safety within the client application. So I can import that store method from my client application, matches the same relative path of where that controller exists, and know that the end URL and the method used in the submission is always going to work. And if anything changes, I will know because my build will break. So this makes Joe very happy, getting rid of all the strings in the application. Again, left me wondering, does Laravel have it all? It's pretty sweet, includes all this stuff. Now how you can build your own. Here's some of the submissions from last night. Maybe you recognize some of those. Yeah, the starter kit approach here. Now, starter kits were new to me. This is what I used to build this application, was the Laravel React starter kit. And I really at first I was wondering what the benefit was. Like, why would I do this over just cloning a GitHub repo? And I learned quickly. During the installation process, we are automatically running migrations during starter kit installation. We are auto-installing dependencies, and the installation process can be customized to run your own custom steps as well, which we'll get into. So I published this whole application as a starter kit. How? It was through packages. If you're new to the PHP ecosystem, coming from JavaScript, it's basically kind of an NPM for PHP. It's free to publish, although there are private publishing support. The folks from packages are here too. You should check out the booths over there and go talk to them. Yeah, go packages. And there's an elephant logo, of course, on brand for PHP community.
Why are you so mad?
Yeah, I noticed that too, actually, with the furrowed brows and the flared ears. But then I thought about it, and I'd be mad too if I had to stand in a box all day long. Trying. So you can import this video guestbook, the repository, right into your packages, and it will assign you a slug, right? So you can use this slug during the Laravel app installation, Laravel new, my guestbook, pass the using flag, and it's going to look up on packages what that slug looks like, and go ahead and install that, run that installation process locally. Now, the installation process can be customized, like I said. And here's a little snippet from the composer.json file where we have this post create project command entry area. And here's what runs when the React starter kit is used for an installation. We're running that migration, creating the database if it doesn't exist. But here's what we added at the bottom. There's obviously a call that it's not native. This is PHP artisan mux :setup, which was created through PHP artisan make command mux setup. You can call this command, of course, whatever you want if you're creating your own. And that will create a new file, the following path here. And in this file, inside of the handle function, what I was using was Laravel prompts package, another like, what is this thing? Moment for me, where I am collecting information that is pertinent to the installation of a guestbook for an end user that's cloning this starter kit. By providing text field, text inputs, and additional information. This helps with the configuration process of the guestbook, but also can be used to educate users about, hey, what is the next step after this is set up, so they're not just left hanging after an install. Here's what that looks like. After the installation process happens, this is the last step, it will present these text fields right in the console, right in line with the installation process, and give some additional information about where to go next. Pretty cool. Does Laravel have it all? This doesn't exist natively in the previous iteration of this application. It's been a really great fit for this migration. I recorded this whole migration too, so this will be on our YouTube channel. If this is kind of your situation in any way, it might be helpful to just kind of see all the moments of joy, surprise in its raw form. Now, with all of these niceties, it kind of had me wondering how I fell heavy into the JavaScript ecosystem at all. Maybe it was the impressive people. Maybe it was kind of the shiny tech. Maybe it was the brands that were throwing thousands of dollars to appear in front of me. I don't know. But what I do know is this. When you let your guard down and stop trying to be what other people are telling you to be, and just be unapologetically you, a lot of really beautiful and simple experiences can come of it. And that's been representative of my time spent with Laravel. So Be brave, folks. Don't be afraid to try new things. And if you don't have a wingman yet at this point in the conference, please come find me. My name is Dave. Come find the video guest book, sign it, and let's be friends.
Yippee.
Well done. Thank you. You did great. Here, I'll take that from you.
That's your artisan jacket. Oh, I'm in. All right, let's go.
Yeah. I love how far you took the starter kit with the prompts installation.
Yeah. There's a lot to explore there, and I just kind of wanted to keep pushing and see what the next
How
level.
much of your time as like the lead of the developer community at Mux, how much of your time is spent like building stuff like this versus, I guess, exploring video APIs versus managing community? Like, what do you?
Yeah, I mean, it truly is this role is kind of a new day every day. For me, PHP, again, I started in it way back in the day, and seeing this energy and this community continue to grow is so attractive to make sure that I'm a part of it in some way. So I'm happy to be here doing this, but also want to contribute in ways that are, installable as well.
Yeah, I like the fact that you turned that into a starter kit. That's very cool. Last question for you. What kind of music does your band play?
My band plays paper rock.
I don't know what that is.
Yeah, nobody knows it. I made it up.
That sounds great, though. All right, y'all, give it up for Dave Kiss. Paper rock. What is paper rock?